It should have been live now. Oh, what do you say? You maximize it, Abby?
And we not just be seeing my back and I don't see my front. Well, the other one, the class, I don't see my front because I was basically looking at the screen.
You said they were not seeing. No, they were saying you. I was even watching you. Yeah. I'm trying to get something. Okay, I think we are good.
Why is it like this? It's not supposed to be like this.
It's because it's just the way the YouTube is. So because they are using phone, they now.
Okay.
When you bend your phone,
okay.
You see it very well.
Hi.
Alive.
I'm at this place. Maybe they're sleepy, I don't know. Is that right?
Yes, you are alive.
Is it right?
No. This one.
Hello viewers, good to have you at this time as we look at some likely JAMB questions on economics. Let's start with this first one before us. If P equals 1 over 4 bracket QS plus 10, what is the quantity supplied at 4 naira? In other words, whatever you find P, put 14 naira. So, let's go. P equals 1 over 4 bracket QS plus 10. P is given to us as 14. 14 equals 1 over 4 plus 14 over 1. Okay? Bracket QS plus 10. So what do you have? We have 14 over 1 because cross multiply, right? Okay, if you cross multiply, we have 14 times 4 over 1 times 1. So what do we have? 4 times this should be 56, right? 56. So we have 56. And QS plus 10. Alright, we'll collect like times. Okay? So what do we have? We have a plus 56 minus 10 equals QS. So what do we have? 46 equals QS. So the answer is C. Okay? Very well. Let's go to the next one. The profit of a monopolist can be eliminated where price equals AC. Where the price equals AC. Remember monopolies, is the sole owner of the product, sole producer of a particular product, all right? But his profits can be eliminated when his price equals AC. At this point, no profits, no loss. So what do you call it? We call it is breaking even, break even. Okay? That's a break even for him. All right? So let's go on. Now, the next one. An economy in which both the public and private sectors contribute to the economic growth is as. Now, in one of our lectures on this subject, we did economic system. You know, that's one of the fundamental topic in economics. Okay? We were told that we have capitalists, we have socialists, and of course, we have mixed economy. It's important to have this understanding because so many questions also relating to this. Are you with me? Very well. When we say capitalist, is talking about private ownership of the means of production, distribution, and exchange of goods and services. When we say socialist, it's talking about public. That is the government. Another one for public is the government. And when we say means, it's talking about both private and public, both of them combined, control the means of production, distribution, exchange of goods and services. Remember, we have several names for this because you may come across them in the course of this question or any other question. Okay? We may have something like free market economy. Free market economy. We have what they call laissez-faire. Laissez-faire economy. That's another name for capitalist. We also have what they call liberal economy. Liberal economy. While for socialists, we call it command economy. We also call it controlled economy. Who is commanding? Who is controlling the government? Public economy. Okay? And the means is, of course, means. So when both public and private sectors contribute, what do you call it? We call it mixed economic system, option D. The next question. If the standard deviation of a given data is 53, what is the variance? The variance should be the square root of the standard deviation, all right? So variance, variance should be 53 squared, all right? That's 53 times 53. Okay, 3 times 3, So, n of answers will be 9. 3 times 5 is 15. Okay? Then 5 times 3 is what? 15 in that order. So your answer is getting clearer now. Then 5 times 5, that's 25. Okay? So we have 9, we have 0, 6, 7, Abi. This is 10. You carry 1. This is 6, 7. And 2. Something like that. So the closer answer here should be 2809. Okay? Alright. The next one. B is the answer there. Which of the following set of statistical tools is used for further economic analysis? You want to further analyze economy, what do? You make use of mean. Mean is very important, you know that. You know, within mean you can get your median, you can get your mode. And of course, standard deviation. After standard deviation, like we just finished in that question, you find your variance. Okay? The root. So option C is the most correct answer. The next question. An advantage of the range as a measure of dispersion is that what is range? In economics, range is the difference between the highest value and the lowest value. That's range. Highest value minus lowest value. That's what they call range. Okay? So, it can be used to calculate open-ended distribution, make use of all values of observation. You can't use all the values. It's not possible. Because you're only picking the highest and the lowest, so you're not using all. Takes all value, you don't take all, you don't take all. It's useful for further statistical calculation. Of course, we have said that earlier, that's what the question said. So the answer is A. It can be used to calculate open-ended distribution. Huh? So what you do is just to pick the highest and pick the lowest and find the difference. Alright? The next one. Find the median of the following set of data. What is median? Median is a number that falls in the middle. The number that falls in the middle when you arrange either ascending or descending order. Ascending or descending order. Okay? In either arrangement, anyone that falls in the middle is your median. So let's see now. Ascending order means from the small lowest to the highest. What's the lowest number here? This is, okay, it's 10. So I have 10, followed by 14, followed by 15. What's the next one? 18. Followed by what again? 22. Okay. Followed by what again? 30, 28. Then 30. And of course, 35. Okay. 38. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. We stop here. From the front, from the back, rear. 1, 2, 3, 4. We stop here. So what's the median? 22. D is the correct answer. Okay? Very well. Let's look at the next question. An increase in demand without a corresponding change in supply will lead to what? When demand increases, oh, come on, let me activate my pen. When demand increases, like this, without a corresponding change in supply, supply still remain the same. Demand increases, supply remain the same. What do you think will happen? As the demand increases, as the demand is increasing, the implication is that as supply still remain the same, there's excess demand at the moment, and from this excess demand, demand is already higher than supply. So the implication is that this supply, there may be increase in price because demand is already greater than what? Supply. So let's see. A decrease in equilibrium price and increase in equilibrium quantity. It can be a decrease in price for this. An increase in equilibrium price, yes, because I just mentioned to you that since there's excess demand, demand greater than supply, there's tendency for increase in price. So this could be a correct answer. Let's go. And quantity. Now, since the price will increase, remember, as the price increases, the seller is ready to sell more at higher price. So the supply is likely going to what? Increase. Okay? A decrease in, anything decrease, not decrease. Increase in equilibrium price and a decrease in equilibrium quantity. So the implication now is that there will be increase in the price, okay, as well as increase in demand. Because here, we already say demand increase, so price also increasing. So correct answer here is increase in equilibrium price and quantity. Option B is the correct answer here. The next one. An increase in the price of a commodity will result in, when the price of a commodity increase, of a product increases, what do you think happens to the product? A decrease in the quantity demanded, okay? An increase in demand, it can be increased. Remember the law of demand. An increase in quantity demanded, it can be increased, law of demand. A decrease in demand, okay? If the price of the commodity, it will be a decrease in quantity demanded. A, based on the law of demand. That says what? The higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded, and vice versa. Are you with me? Very well. Hey. The next question. If the price of a bicycle changes from 120 to 180, and quantity bought changes from 300 to this, the excess of demand is new. Come on, my pen activated. Okay, so we have new demand minus old demand over old demand. That's original demand. Okay, Then we have new price minus old price, original price over original price. So let's find demand first. It should be all over. So let's find demand. What is the new demand? He said the new demand from 300 to 500. So new is, this is old, this is new. Okay? New is 500 minus 300 over old 300. Are you with me? Very well. Okay? So what do we have here? We have 200 over 300. Okay? This over, cancel this. So 2 over 3. What do you have here? Huh? 3 here, that's 0. Are we together? 0.33. Yeah, I think so, 0.33. Okay? Very well. So, for here, we have new. What's the new? The old, this is old, this is new. Okay? So, the new, that is 80 minus 120 over 120. Okay? So, we have 4 minus 40 over 120. Are you with me? Okay? So, we have this. Then we have 1 over 3. Okay? Very well. That's 4 here 1, 4 here 3. So 3 in 1, that's 0. 1 here has 0, that's 0.333 sum. Huh? Oh, this one should be 3 here, 0. 1 here has 0. 3 in 20, that should be 6, 6. This is 6, 6. But this is 0.33. Alright? So, to get our elasticity of demand for this particular product equals, the answer we get 0.66 over 0.33. Okay? So how does it go? How many of these can we find here? We can find 2 of it. Alright? So the answer is 2.0. D. The answer is 2.0 D. Okay? Let's move on quickly because of our time. One of the assumptions of the cardinal approach is diminishing marginal rate of substitution, is the consistency and transparency of choice, is that total utility depends on the quantity of the commodity consumed, or stable marginal utility of money. This has nothing to do with this question. Okay? Cardinal approach, diminishing marginal rate of substitution, consistency and transition choice. Total utility depends on the quantity of commodity that is consumed. Okay? C. That's the cardinal point. The next question. Utility is the word utility means use, usage, or satisfaction. Okay? Utility derived means satisfaction derived. Utility is satisfaction derived from the distribution of goods, use of goods, demand of goods, production of goods. The answer is the use of goods. The use of goods and services. That's utility, the use. Okay? The next question. One of the major factors that brings about changes in supply is changes in supply. Market, no. Number one change in supply. That's change in quantity supply. We did one of our video we did earlier on the elasticity of demand and supply. Please, you can check it up on our channel. Okay, we explain the difference between this change in supply and change in quantity supply. Okay, the major factor that brought about change in supply is the price of a product. What change in supply is other factors. Okay, and that's why we have that curve. We did the curve too and we explain all of them. For instance, this one, we have what they call movement along the supply curve. Downwards or upwards movement. Okay, but for this, what we have, the price is constant. All right, but yet we have changes in supply curve. This supply, original supply curve, then we have a backward shift in supply. Then we have forward shift in supply. Backward and forward. Positive, negative. Rightwards leftwards. Okay, so this is what they call shifts in supply curve. Why this is called what? Change or movements. Movement is called movement. Movement along supply curve. Okay, so one of the major factors that brings about changes in supply, we're talking about this: market discrimination, available storage facility, the cost of storage, incentives granted to workers, cost of storage facility. Availability of storage facility will affect the quantity supply. This has nothing to do with price in the first place. Okay, very well. We'll go on for the next one. For the next one, if the supply of a product is elastic, if the supply of a product is elastic, a small reduction in price will, if the supply of a product is elastic, that it changes. The word elastic means can change, changes, easily changes, okay? A small reduction in price, when the price goes down, small reduction in price, what will happen? Since the supply changes easily, so when the price comes down, it will affect supply. And remember, the lower, according to the law of supply, the lower the price, the lower the quantity supply, and vice versa. Okay? Reduction in price will reduce the cost of production, reduce quantity supply, increase quantity supply, lead to no change in the quantity of the product. It's elastic. So it will lead to what? Reduction in the quantity supply. If it's not elastic, then the quantity will remain the same. Alright? It leads to no change. But this one, since it's elastic, it will change in response to what? The law of supply. Okay? We'll move to the next one. If the price of a commodity is fixed below equilibrium, what will it lead to? Below equilibrium. This is the equilibrium. The equilibrium price, where the seller is ready to sell and the buyer is ready to buy. Okay? So when you fix a price below equilibrium, now you have already come down from the price the seller is ready to what? To sell. Yeah, it's positive for buyer because lower price is good for buyer. They want to buy more. But that is a negative side for the seller. So what happened? This will lead to excess demand, of course. Because price has come down, this buyer wants to buy more at a lower price. A decrease in price, an increase in price, and excess supply. If the price, we're talking about price of commodities fixed. Fixed below equilibrium price. This will lead to what? Excess demand. Because the price has come down below equilibrium price, so more will be demanded by this buyer, but less will be supplied by the seller based on the law of supply and demand. Okay? So we'll go on. The next one. One of the criticisms of the price mechanism is that, now, price mechanism is one of the characteristics of a capitalist economy. Okay? Price mechanism is also known as what? Price system. Okay? And what does it mean? It means that you allow the invisible hands, the two invisible hands to determine price. The two invisible hands, you allow them to determine price. Okay? And what are the two invisible hands? Demand and supply. So nobody fixed price. It's these two invisible hands in the market that will determine the price. That's freedom. Okay? So a criticism means an objection to this system. Producers are sovereign. It provides no degree of freedom. It widens inequitable gap. Consumers are suffering. It widens inequitable gap. because different prices will now operate in different markets. It will now lead to what? The survival of the fittest. Okay? And this is one of the criticism against this system of capitalism, where the capitalist makes profits at the expense of human life. They don't care. They just believe in abnormal profits. So it's widely equitable gap. Inequitable gap. Alright? So we cannot get to equitability at that point. In Nigeria, the government can reduce the cost of accommodation by fixing the rent below equilibrium price. Below equilibrium price. Just like the last two questions we discussed. Like this, below equilibrium price. Huh? So when the price is fixed below equilibrium price, yes, it makes the accommodation readily available for the people, but then the mortgage suppliers or the suppliers of those buildings will be reluctant to continue to build. So there will be scarcity. There will be scarcity. Eventually there will be what? Scarcity. But the implication is that fixing the rent below the equilibrium price, it makes the building or the facilities more available, more attainable by the buyers or by the occupants. But then for the supplier, the mortgage companies and the builders, they are not encouraged to continue to build more with that particular price. The next question. Yeah. If a refinery achieves a reduction in cost by purchasing and transporting crude oil in large quantities, it enjoys, of course, less economies of scale. Economies of scale is what you enjoy when you are producing in large scale, in large quantity. We call it economies of scale. Correct? The next one. An isoquant lying above to the right of another represents the higher output, constant return to scale over capacity utilization, the lower output. That is higher output because it's to the right. If it's to the left, there's a lower output level. Okay? But to the right is what? Higher output level. Remember, isoquant is talking about equitability of production. We are producing two items at the same amount with the available resources. It's different from that of a PPC, production possibility curve, where you use the available resources to juxtapose between two products. That if you produce more of this, you produce less of the other one. That's PPC. But for this isoquant, it's talking about producing them at a balanced rate, equitable sharing of the available resources between two of them. So when it's to the right, it's higher output, and when it's to the left, it's lower output. Option A is the correct answer. The next one. The measure of national income used as comparison of standard of living among nations, of course, is PCI. This is what they call PCI, per capita income. What is per capita income? Per capita income is derived when you divide the national income with the population. In other words, when they share the available income of a country with all the total population of that country, what does individual get? That's your per capita income. This is what they normally use to classify the standard of living of a particular country. Okay? I think United Nations already gave a standard of, when they say $5 per day, if any country is having $5 per day, it's having a low PCI or something like that. So Nigeria today is having low PCI because of our level of productivity, per capita income. All right, the next one. The speculative demand for money is inversely related to. Now, there are three major factors or reasons why people demand for money. We have what they call it, speculative approach, which is what speculative is special, for special purposes like investment. All right, very well. Then we have transactional approach or demand. This is for transaction, what you spend on daily basis, day-to-day activities, what you use to run your activities. And then we have the third one, transactional, speculative, and I can't remember the third one, but you know you have the third one, the one that is meant for a particular purpose, for emergency, for emergency. If you want for emergency approach, okay? So you can sort that one out. So for money, it's inversely. The word inverse means opposite, indirectly related to what? Interest rate, level of income, exchange rate, inflation rate. It's interest rate. How do I mean? If the interest rate is higher, there's tendency for you not to keep this money, but for you to invest the money so as to enjoy the current interest rate. But if it is low, you may decide to keep the money till future dates. So inversely related to what? To the available interest rate. A is the correct answer. Alright? Let's see. This one, make it clearer, okay? Mr. K obtains a 50 naira loan from a bank for the purpose of providing household needs. That is daily needs. The demand for money is said to be what? Transactionally, speculative, precautionary. Okay, this is what I was looking for that time. I was looking for this. That is the one money you get for emergency, precautionary. But what this money is meant for, if it's daily needs, it is transactionary motive. This is for special investments. This is for emergency. Okay? But this is for daily needs. So option A is the correct answer. Okay? The next question. Which of the following is used by the Central Bank of Nigeria to control inflation? CBN. Tariff on import. This is government. Government use this. Government use the tariff. Okay? Tax rate. Government use tax rate. These two are used by government. Exchange rates. Also by government. Discount rate. Discount rate means interest rates. This is used by the central bank. So this is the correct answer. Underneath for discount rate is interest rate. In other words, how much the banks, commercial banks, are paying to get money from the central bank. That's the discount rate or the interest rate. So that's the correct answer. Okay? It's used to control inflation. How? If central banks control inflation, they will increase the interest rate. When the interest rate is high, the commercial banks will be discouraged from collecting more money. And once they have less money, they have less to give customers. So invariably, you have reduced circulation of money in the economy. But if interest rate is low, they will collect more money, and the more money the commercial bank has, the more they give to their customer, and the more money in circulation. So that's what I say. Very well. We'll go to the next one now. If CBN reduces money supply, the interest rate will fluctuate, rise, fall, remain unchanged. In other words, the supply of money has been reduced. The quantity supply of money to commercial bank has been reduced. What do you think will happen? Commercial bank will not have enough in their hand to give. So the interest rate will be forced to rise. Because there's limited money available, so interest rate will go up. It will go up. And by the time it goes up, it will also discourage people from going for loans, just as it is now. About average interest rate in commercial banks today is between 27% and 35%. So when you look at this interest rate, what are you going to use to do what kind of business can you do with this? To pay back and also to make your own profit. So this is also another way of discouraging people from accessing loan or to reduce money that is being spent in circulation. So since money supply is reduced in the hand by the central bank, the commercial bank have less money in their hands, then the interest rate will go up. Scarcity. Okay? Now we'll come to the next one. Next question. A tax on land will ultimately fall partly on agents and users, entirely on users, entirely on owners, partly on users and owners. It's on owner now, the owner of the land. The owner of the land. You pay your tax. Okay? Alright, we'll go on. Yes, an example of an expansionary fiscal policy action is decrease in the corporate profit tax rate, decrease in welfare payment, purchase of government security, decrease in bank rate. The word expansionary means to increase, to expand, to increase the fiscal policy. And fiscal policy has to do with policy on taxation. Okay, increasing tax nets. Just as what this current government have done. They have increased the tax nets. And by so doing, they have shortened the fund available in the hands of both government businesses, corporate businesses, and individual businesses. So it has decreased the profit of tax rate. By increasing tax, what you have done is that we have reduced disposable income of the people and of the government, of the corporate organization. As you reduce disposable income of the people, you have also reduced what? The profit of companies by increasing of tax. So their profit have reduced. So decrease in the corporate profit tax. They are paying more to the government and they have less profit to enjoy. Okay? The next one. One of the goals of development plans in Nigeria is to increase profitability of money, to improve the country GDP, to achieve higher standard of living for the citizen, to develop the answer is what? To achieve higher standard of living. Development is always talking about standard of living of the people. While growth is talking about the economic growth, development is talking about standard of living of the people. Okay, C. Alright, let's see the next one. Life insurance companies contribute to economic development by holding a part of their assets in long-term financial instruments, yes. Money market instruments, no. Cash and near money, never. Short-term is long-term. Money market is short-term. Okay, while capital market is long-term. Capital market is long-term. Money market is short-term. And you don't keep life insurance money as cash that can easily spend. So it's always kept as a long-term financial institution in the capital markets, like bonds, okay, like bonds, buying government bonds, or some forms of shares, like that, capital markets. The next question, in order to add value to Nigeria agricultural produce, there's need to, you want to add value to Nigerian products, agricultural products, what do you need to do? Cultivate hybrid crops, process them into finished goods, adopt modern storage facilities, advertise them in European market. They will still buy it at cheap price now. The best answer here is to process them to finished goods. Whatever value you want to add to Nigerian agricultural product is to develop to the point that we can convert them to finished goods. Now, most of these products are raw materials, and raw material has no good value. They don't buy them at good price. So we're losing at the end of the day. But if you're able to convert these raw materials to finished goods, then we'll sell it at their what? At their normal price. Just like what's happening to us now. Where our cacao will be taken abroad and European market and they bring back chocolate and be selling for us at a very exorbitant price. Alright? The main reason for low agricultural produce in West Africa is need to. Why do we think we have low productivity of agricultural products in Nigeria? The presence of large-scale agro and light industry is the need to do what? To high dependency ratio, over dependency of agriculture for subsistence, the use of crude implement in farming. Wow. The main reason for low agricultural produce in West Africa is need to do what? To need to the use of, I think this question, something is wrong here. Need to what? There's something is not correct. Because I can look at it from two perspectives, this question. Why do we have low agricultural production? It's because we use crude implements in farming process. We use crude implement. And with this crude implement, what can we get? We can only produce little, which is for sustenance. Little, only sustenance. Family, friends, village, sustenance. Okay? Then for this one, the question is actually not clear here. Something is not connected. The main reason for low agricultural produce in West Africa is, I don't know why this need to is there. It's need to. Well, if you are talking about solution to low agricultural production, then we have to talk about the presence of large-scale agro-allied industries. right? So this question is not really clear with this. So I'm going to skip this question for now, all right? I think with this, I'm going to stop at this point. I hope you have enjoyed this class. If you have any question, please you can send to us and let us attend to them. Okay, you can also subscribe to our channels so that I can get more and more on this and other subjects that were presented to you. Don't also forget to share our links to your friends so that they can also enjoy what you're enjoying. Thank you for your time. See you next time.